what has been the hardest tourist visa for you to acquire?
Getting the Belarusian one was interesting. There was a guy that knew a guy, and it was literally like, leave your passport and $100 on your desk.
Wow.
Doobie beep beep. All right, folks, we are here. Welcome, everyone. Known by his over 1 million subscribers on YouTube, yes, you heard that correctly, and other social media sites as Wolters World, Dr. Mark Wolters is a lifelong and extremely passionate traveler. Drawing on his many years living abroad and traveling the world, Mark and his wife Jocelyn, and now their kids, make fun and informative videos teaching others about their different destinations. Together, they cover everything you might need to know before heading off to a new destination, from tips and tricks to avoid scams and pickpockets, to the cultural do's and especially don'ts of the locales and everything in between. Without further ado, please welcome Dr. Mark Wolters to this edition of the Travel Buzz podcast. Dr. Wolters, thank you so much. We're beyond thrilled to have you here. This is so cool.
Glad to be here, Adelaide. Good to see you, Jen. Hope you're all doing well.
We're doing great. How's the weather in Chicago right now?
Oh, stormy, cold, rain. We had 85 on Sunday and then 30 on Monday.
That sounds like March,
very
April.
Midwest.
A little bit of everything.
It's 90 today in Tampa, so we're living the dream.
There you go. And but only a nice 95 humidity, though.
Correct.
So.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
Nailed
exactly.
That wet heat that everyone loves.
The air assaults you here. It's really
impressive.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, glad that you could be here. Yes. We have a bunch of questions that we wanted to ask you. We actually have a ton more questions than we gave you. We really want to ask you, but we're going to start with what we have here. And really what we wanted to know more than anything was kind of how you do what you do. So starting with, you have been everywhere. Like you have been everywhere, but you have lived everywhere. So how many countries have you lived in and been to?
So I've been to, I've only been about 80 countries. And then my kids, my youngest is very proud. He finally tied his older brother. He's at 58 now. And the older brother is getting ready to move out to go to college. So the younger one's like, I'm going to take him. So
amazing.
That's
awesome. They have a little competition. Well, the younger one has the competition. The older one he has a little fear of flying now after all these years. I'm like, dude, we've flown all over the world. What's going on?
No.
But so he's the little one's excited to overtake his brother.
Nice.
But in terms of living, so I was an exchange student in high school in Australia and Finland. And then in college, I did a study abroad in Austria and Argentina. And then I did my master's in Germany. I did my PhD in Portugal. Between then, I worked in Lithuania for 3.5 years. Also lived in Brazil for a time. And then there's I taught for summers in Europe, like in Italy, and I've taught in China, Belgium, Spain, all kinds of places. But I think there was a stretch of 12 years where I lived abroad before we moved back to the U.S.
I do have to ask, where in China were you?
So I was teaching in Beijing at the Ninsu Dashua, the one of the universities there for the summer. And then we had all the weekends off. So then the weekends we would go and travel Xi'an, Tianjin, Shanghai. So it was a good time. I really enjoyed it. Jocelyn was not as much of a fan of Beijing. She loved Shanghai and Xi'an, but Beijing is so full. And how we were staying is at the time, at least, if you got a hotel, they would have a huge hold on your credit card. So you couldn't actually book a place for 2 weeks. So we had to go through the university, and we had basically We had a hotel room, which is a little bit bigger than your Hampton Inn bathroom. That is what we had for me, my wife, and then our kids were, I think, 2 and 6 or 7, 2 and 6 at the time. And it was an interesting time. It was an interesting summer.
Yeah, so summer in Beijing. That's
105. There was days you couldn't even see across the street to the neon lights in the building across the street. So it was an interesting time, but we had a fun time. I enjoyed it. I really got to know a lot about the Chinese people and the Chinese culture, which is good for me. So where I teach my day job, I'm a professor and I have a lot of international students from China. And so it really helped me kind of understand their mentality a lot better. So it worked for the travel thing, and it worked for, getting to know the culture and the people, my students.
Amazing. Cool. That is incredible.
So, how did you get into documenting your travels the way you do for Wolters World now?
So I started making videos. Like I remember back in high school, people were like, "Oh, you should write down like a journal of what you're doing." And like,
Mhm.
I'm like, "Dude, I don't want to write that stuff down. Nobody cares. I don't care. I'm not gonna read that again." So I was like, never thought about doing it. Like if I would have started then, I would have like an extra 10 years on it, you know.
Uh-huh.
Right?
But I started making the videos. There's a few things. Like one, I had channels before Wolters World,
Mhm.
and one
Okay.
was like to help because I taught in Portugal and I had to teach in English, and I knew not every student was like perfect in English, so I would do all the main topics from the class. I like make summary videos so they could study for the exam with it, right? And so they
That's
could
Oh, that's
slow
awesome.
it down on YouTube. So there was that. And then Jocelyn, she was my fiance at the time, and she was moving to Portugal. So I
Mhm.
started making like language videos, like, oh, let's teach you Portuguese food. And I'll do it at the grocery store where you're going to go shopping.
Oh,
So she can be
that's
more fun when
really
she's in here.
great.
Yeah.
I
And then,
love that.
yeah. And then so there was that. And then then where I really went all in on like the all honest travel stuff is I was in Italy
Mm.
and I got this guidebook, and it was just like the guidebook made every city sound fantastic. Like lots of blogs make every city sound
Mhm.
perfect, you know? And I'm like, I went to this one town, it was garbage. Everything was BS in the book. Not everything, but it was like, I'm like, they oversold it. I could tell where they probably got paid off to say nice things here. I just
Mhm.
thought about my buddies who had like 10 days of vacation a year, maybe good to go, like, or my aunt who went to Europe once in her life. She had
Mhm.
one chance to go. And if she would have read that book, she would have gone there and spent 3 days in this town that's garbage. I was like,
Yep.
this isn't right. This is not right. So I was like,
Mhm.
I'm going to make honest travel advice, the good and the bad. Then we can make their own decisions. And
Yeah.
sometimes people get upset with it. They're like, "Oh, how dare you talk about bad things?" I'm like, "No, you might want to know this because then you're
Yeah.
not upset by it. You can expect it, so it comes to kind of like a surprise. Like, haha, I knew this was going to happen, ha!" And then you feel better about it versus like, "I hate Portugal because I made you pay for the bread," which I've heard people talk about.
Yeah.
Like it's
Right.
amazing. Like some people's like, "Oh, getting robbed." No, no, no. They made me pay for olives. Like I'll never go back. I'm like, oh wow. So it's kind of interesting.
Oh, I love
That's
that.
great.
That's a really great way. And what's amazing in it too is the presentation of it is like it doesn't sound like you're trashing the place or anything. It's just look, this is what you'll love. This is what you might not love.
Yeah.
Here's what it is
Yeah.
and all. And I
Well,
love that.
and I personally appreciate when I started watching your don'ts of the places that you go to is that it's not don't do this, don't do that, like don't see this thing, don't it's don't miss this
Right.
opportunity, don't forget to
Yeah.
bring good walking shoes, don't right like it's
Yeah.
things that really enhance the travel in the space. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, it's more of a do's and don'ts, but no one ever watches a do's video. So you have to have the like little negative connotation there. But the thing is, like, because there'll be people that'll come in like, I was coming to hate your video because you were going to talk about what not to do in my hometown or my city or my
Mhm.
country. And then you were actually really helpful and that was actually really nice. You didn't really say anything bad. You were just
Yeah,
very honest. I'm like, yeah. And that's why I try to be very objective with things.
yeah.
But
Mhm.
I mean, I'm going to be somewhat subjective because it's from my experience, but I base it on my experiences of traveling. What's it like there? How can I prepare people? Because I want to help anybody traveling. Like, if you notice, our logo is just a person waiting for the train,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
that could be anybody. You can be rich, you can be poor, you can be mad, you can be whatever. But we all
Yes.
take the train together. It's like we want
Yeah.
to give advice that can help out all travelers. So it's like we're
Holy
going to give you
cow.
stuff that's going to help you out with the culture, with the food, safety, all kinds of stuff.
That
That's so fantastic.
that is so poignant. Like I
Yeah.
have such a thing for trains and you saying that right now just validated everything I feel about trains. I
I'm
never thought
glad.
about it that way. Rich, poor, doesn't matter where you're at in life. We all ride the train together.
Yeah.
That's right.
Freaking
Love it.
awesome. I am very curious how you choose where you go.
So before, like right after COVID, we spent 22 and 23 just going to visit old friends because I lived abroad for so long. All my friends live around the world, so we
Yeah.
spent that. But like on a usual, like now we're back to our normal travel stuff. It's usually we're picking. Let's find some new countries every year
Mhm.
Mhm.
to try stuff. So like this year we're going to the Balkans. We're going to get like Albania, North
Ooh.
Macedonia,
Amazing. Oh,
Serbia,
so
Serbia, these places. But then there's like okay, then there's like I usually do a trip with my parents and my mom's very much like she went into genealogy hardcore.
Oh, nice.
So like hardcore. And she's like, we could go back to Scotland again. I'm like, Mom, we've gone 3 times. She's like, but I want to go back this in the Shetland Islands. There's this one little tiny island off. I'm like, Mom, we've already been there. Like we've found our home. We've been to the graves. We've seen the things. We know the stories. We've seen everything. She's like, well, they're really helpful in their office there. I'd like to go back. I'm like, Mom, it's all online. We've been there 3 times. I
Email
love
them.
running around Shetland Islands is great, but I'm like, Mom, I have a limited amount of time. So the last, so like we had that, and then we had she got, because we had family from around Strasbourg, and so she got into her Strasbourg thing, and so like she's like this summer, she's like, we could go back to Strasbourg again and Colmar. I'm like, Mom, I've been there 3 times with you, plus for filming with other people. Like we could, our families are from other places too.
Oh my god!
And so this one, she's like, "Oh, are you sure? Like we could?" I'm like, "Mom, you can only see the keys. Like, there's other places to see." So
mom's no longer allowed to pick where you go.
Yeah. So but it's my mom. So out of that. But then we always let the boys choose at least one place. They each get to pick something each year.
Okay.
Mexico, like this year's Mexico City and Panama. Actually, our fans picked Panama too, and they picked Mexico City. So it was kind of a fun thing that everybody picked the same kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We'll have the boys pick, so they have something, so they have kind of like a buy-in, and then we let our fans pick every year too. And this year was funny; like it was a tie between South Korea and Banff. I was like, that's random, because basically I put out the, hey, where would you like us to go? And so you can tabulate it, what's there. I'm like, okay, here were the top. There's like top 4 or 5 places, and of course there was like North Korea or Iran. I'm like, I'm not going there. I'm not like, go see you this. I'm like, I don't go to war zones. I don't fly over war zones. I don't go like political instability. I'm not going to go there. No. So like people putting those into like that no. But like we put it in, and it was really fun because Banff tied with South Korea. So we're going to Banff. Might go to, like, the idea is to go to South Korea in like end of the year for that. But I know Banff's already set up. We got all those things kind of put together. So we have our fans pick it, and then sometimes it's just like, where would I like to go again? So it's kind of a mix. Like I choose, Jocelyn chooses, the boys choose, our fans choose, and then it's like, hey, what's something we need to do? Like I remember I went to Brazil before the Olympics because everybody was badmouthing Brazil so much. Like, oh, you're going to get Zika, turn into a Zika zombie, you're going to die. And they all put all this bad news on. Like, I lived in Brazil. I love it. Yes, Brazil has issues, but it's not that bad. Like, you can't go anywhere. Like, oh, you're going to walk outside. It's got like. So I went there and I filmed tons of Brazil videos just for the Olympics beforehand because I'm like, I'm tired of this. And so like when I see things like that, because I understand the news does it because people like the sensationalism, negativity wins. That's why everyone thinks like everything's horrible in the US. No, we're fine. We're fine. It's like, but people like over exaggerate the news. And I'm trying to show people, look, like we were going to El Salvador before El Salvador got cleaned up because El Salvador is like the number 1 capital of murder in the world, like 10 years ago, and it's like, even before things got a little cleaned up, there's like, if you stay in the tourist parts, the tourists think they're not bothering you.
Yeah.
Like you're not the target. And you can know these things. And I know that's one thing that's kind of influences. I know we were going to talk about like, what is the State Department? Do you listen to the State Department and their kind of things? I'm like, I look at the State Department things, but I also know the State Department is there to help make sure everybody knows every possible thing that can happen. Right. And you can use that. It's not like you follow 100% because you follow 100%, you think you never should leave your house.
Yeah.
But I will look at it in terms of like, hey, are there any like political things that need to be worried about? Any special like, it's like some places like there's the in Colombia there's the thing slipping stuff in people's drinks, and you scope them basically is what it's called, and so there's like, okay, like to learn those things I'll check at that, but I'm not gonna not go to a place. Like I'll do my own research and we usually know people in every country, so it's kind of helpful. Like, hey, what we should do is like, okay, you're going to Ecuador, don't go to Guayaquil. Okay, the rest should be okay. You go to Cuenca, you'll be great. Keep there, have a fun time, but stay away from the coast. Guayaquil, you'll be fine. All right, and so like we'll use that as well because I find that to be more of like a realistic thing. Because otherwise, like, oh, Paris, you're gonna get pickpocketed. You can.
Well, sure. But to flip it around, in your
front pocket, you're probably okay.
Exactly, and to flip it around, what do we think the news sounds like for cities like Tampa and Chicago? Or Philadelphia. We used to live in Philadelphia, and we got that kind of news even from people here in the States. Oh, isn't it dangerous?
Oh, your parents were like, you okay there? Yeah. And it's like, no, it's fine.
Oh, yeah. Like we go to Chicago, like, oh, you go to Chirac? Oh, I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. Yes, exactly. there are issues, but if you're going to go enjoy, you can enjoy the city. It's not a problem.
And if someone comes to you for advice, you're going to know exactly where to tell them to go in your city. Like,
yeah,
exactly. I love that.
Yeah, it's like you're wherever you're in Tampa, where I'm now. It's like I'd be like, look, I'm not gonna go this part of town. Like that's the thing is people will say, well, there's this. I'm like, do you go to that part of town?
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Is there any tourist site there? No. So you would never go there.
Right.
So it's like why do this? That's why I get kind of like that's one of those love and hate things. It's like I want to give people the advice so they can make a better choice for themselves versus like getting freaked out because
right
it is what it is.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for trouble, you're always going to find it.
Right.
That's right. Nothing good happens after midnight.
That's what my mom always told me.
Right.
Great.
So start drinking earlier.
Exactly. You know, that's what happy hour is for.
That's right. You day drink, you're in bed by 8, you wake up the next day, you feel great.
Seriously, y'all need to
Love
come
it.
down here
Oh my
and hang
God,
out with
yes.
us. That would be so fun.
Totally. We'll show you all around Tampa.
You already have like our frame of reference for life.
So I got to know, what kind of language study do you do before you go to all these places?
So, like, I speak Spanish, German, Portuguese. I can speak some Italian, basic French, Lithuanian. Like, I speak a lot of languages, so it's like easy for me to go because it's fun. Because once I go there, I get to practice it up, and it like kind of comes back.
Mm-hmm.
But if I go to a place I don't know, I'm at least gonna learn like thank you, please, yes, no, like the 10 basic words.
Yeah.
You know, like toilet, where is? Because you'll be surprised. Like, and cheers, always know cheers.
Yes.
Because you know cheers. You're like, you know cheers. Like I remember when I lived in Lithuania. And when I first got there, I'm like, keep you sick. I'm like, isekata. I'm like, you know, isekata. They do this. Like, you have to drink and then eyeball and makes, like, stand each other when you do the drinks. Otherwise, bad luck in certain areas of your life, let's say. So it's like funny how those little things, especially if you're like in a smaller country where people don't usually speak the language. Like this summer, we're going to a bunch of countries that not a lot of tourists go to. Not a lot of people speak their languages. So if I'm in Bulgaria and I say the Bulgarian cheers, or I'm in Albania, I know we're going to make friends. Like, if you're going to, they'll switch to English because they know you don't speak Albanian. They know you don't speak Bulgarian.
Yeah.
But they're really nice about it. Like, hey, here's this. Boom, boom, boom. So, should be fun.
I had a very similar experience when we were living in Barcelona, and just before the holiday break, I said "Happy Holidays" in Catalan, and the entire my entire English class just lit up. Oh yeah, Catalana, and I'm like,
exactly.
That's why you learn at least a few things,
right?
Just to get them to delight and open up.
Right.
I love.
And the thing is, what I tell people is like, people are like, oh, the French are unfriendly. No, the French are great. All you have to do is just walk in the store and say bonjour. That's all they want. You walk in, don't say like hello, good day, like you're a jerk. But you say bonjour, they already know you don't speak French because they can hear it. But at least you try. They're like, I'm gonna help you. It'll be great.
Yeah, no, and I love that. Like, you show a little bit of interest in the culture, and it's like all of a sudden, hey, you're, I don't care where you're from. Let's chat. Let's talk. Let's.
Exactly. And I think that's a really good lead in to talk about, like, people get scared. Now I'm seeing all these things like, I'm going to wear a Canadian flag, and so people don't think I'm an American. Look, I've traveled around the world. Yes, people have bitched at me because of Clinton, or the first Bush, Clinton, the second Bush, Obama, Trump, Biden. They complained about all of them. It didn't matter. Like, people are gonna complain. But what I've seen is people realize there's the government and there's the people.
Yes.
And if you're a good person, I'm literally never. Well, no. One time I had one thing. That was when Clinton was president. I had a guy swing at me once, but he was a drunk, so I don't think he was swinging because of Clinton. I think he was just swinging because he was drunk.
That's
but like it all the time, as long as you're a good person, like at the golden rule, do unto others as you want done unto you. It's amazing. If you're a good traveler and you're kind, you're respectful of the language and they're respectful of the culture, people are gonna be cool with you. If you're coming in like, you have to speak English, and I've heard, I was in Panama, and I was like, dude, you're in Panama, man. Like, they speak Spanish here. Well, we have. I'm like, no, dude. Like, you know, gracias. Everybody knows gracias. Come on. It's like just doing that goes a long way, and then people are cool with you.
Yeah.
No, perfect. And just to tack onto that, if I may, like the idea that you could go there and be like, you could alone dispel the ugly American myth in at least one person's head.
Exactly.
And that's wonderful.
We're all ambassadors for the countries we come from. And I think, and one of those, the ugly American trope, I think a lot of it, I mean, yes, we do have our mistakes. We're not perfect, and there are some ugly Americans that are ugly American tourists. But the thing is, the default tourist languages around the world is English. So what's the biggest country that speaks English? Oh, the U.S. So if somebody's speaking English as a tourist, they must be from the U.S. So that's the default. So I'm thinking we're getting blamed for some other ugly tourists as well.
Undoubtedly.
Fully agree with that. And not for nothing, but we also, as Americans, I'm only speaking for myself and my experience, I will just say it is my assessment that we really don't know a lot about other countries. We're not taught a lot about other countries, including countries like Canada. So if you're going to go to another country and wear a Canadian flag, you don't know what that country's relationship with Canada or Canadians is. And it has been my experience that there's plenty of ugly tourists from the UK and Canada and Australia and other English speaking countries. Absolutely. So being an American might actually bode better for you.
Yeah. And the thing is, like when I've traveled, people ask where you're from, and I always find it's like if you say the big city near where you're from, people like that better than you say the country.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, you're from Chicago. Oh, cool. I'm like, yeah, I'm like 2 hours from Chicago, but it's easier. It's like, oh, Chicago. They're like, oh, Al Capone, Michael Jordan. I'm like, yes, we've done nothing since the 1900s, but I appreciate that.
I'll take it. Bootleggers live on. That's fine.
Right.
I am really curious, speaking of like cultural differences, like how do you source your information for your cultural do's and don'ts in these videos? Because you seem to know a lot of local type information.
Intricacies.
So I'll go through, I don't know, like maybe 100 blogs, 30 or 40 YouTube videos. I will research the library. I'll go to the Barnes and Noble and pull out the books there. But also I'll reach out to our fans. I'm like, hey, we're going to these countries. If you're from there, I'd love to meet up. So I put for example, I put one up that we're going to Albania, and a guy that goes to school where I teach, and he's like, hey, I saw your post. He's not my student, but he follows me online. He's like, I didn't realize you taught. I want to talk to you about Albania so you know like what to know and this kind of stuff. And that's one thing that helped. Or you'd be surprised, like we're in the US, so many people from all over, and maybe they're not from there, but their grandma is or their mom is. And so we were going to Colombia, and one of the ladies I work out in the gym with, she's Colombian. She's like, oh my God, my parents get so mad at my kids because they don't greet them when they come downstairs. You don't understand. In Colombia, you go in the elevator, you go in the store, you see people in the morning, you greet them, and you always say goodbye as well. And she's like, for the love of God, tell people that. And I'll get people that'll come. And I like in my phone, I have notes where I'll literally I'll talk to people from the state. I'm like, Egypt. I'm not going there for like probably another year or two. Right. But I got the notes. There are people like when I meet people, I put the notes in, so I have that. Wow. And and also when I have all this information, and then I go and I don't film right away. It's like I go. I want to make sure like what was their experience, what's my experience, but I don't have mine because mine might be different. And that's what I love about YouTube is everybody can have their own experience, and they're just sharing their experience. That's why I tell everyone: make the videos, show people what it's like to be there because. With perspective, I'm a middle-aged bald man. Like my perspective will be different than the 20-year-old spring breaker, right?
Yeah.
Everyone needs that little stuff so we can see the different ways you can enjoy different places.
I love that.
And I've noticed that a lot of your videos aren't necessarily targeted at Americans. You have videos on places around the world where you're saying if you're coming here from another country, here's some things to know or things to not be surprised by.
Yeah, and I'll look at that because a lot of times, because I'll also look up the numbers. Like I'm a professor, so I'm going to do the research. And so I'll look up the numbers, like where do the most tourists come from? And then just like if you look at Turks and Caicos and their history with Canada, it's like we were almost one of the provinces. And then you kind of look at the history. It's like actually that was more you pushed for it, and then you didn't push for it, and then Canada did, and then you're like no, and so it's just like the story is a little more complicated when people remember, and that's the thing. It's like. You'll hear it one part of the story, but then you get the other layers, then it can help you understand the culture better. I think that's one thing, like if you learn the language of places, like really learn it, you start to understand the culture better because there's different ways how they all say certain things. Like, it's not just a sausage, that's a Wurst, that's a Frankfurt, that's a Wiener. You're like, oh, I get it. Because the Bockwurst is okay, I got it now. Like, it's weird little things like that can help.
Oh, that's so great.
I love that. I just have to say my own anecdote on that one is the Catalan culture, because it is so medieval. The toast in Catalan that I love the most is Salut i força al canut, which is cheers and strength to your codpiece.
Yeah, I have some other ones that I've heard that I don't think I can remember. I know she's getting banned on YouTube for it. So,
I mean, we're PG-13, Mark. Come on.
Yeah, Germans have some interesting ones.
I'm somehow not surprised by that. Rolling back to like some of the destinations you've been to and some of the crazier locations and everything, like what has been the hardest tourist visa for you to acquire?
So I know it wasn't necessarily the hardest, it was the most Interesting. So I was going to like getting the Belarusian one was it
Mm.
was interesting, but I didn't. I had something like there was a guy that knew a guy, and it was literally like leave your passport and $100 on your desk.
Wow.
And I'm like,
Stop.
and it wasn't like it was like my buddy's like I got a buddy, but just leave your passport and $100 on your desk, and like and it was legit. Like came back later, I had the visa, all those forms were filled out, everything was there, so I had all the stuff. It was I think it was just I think the guy just did it like just like hey Mark, I'll make it easy for you. So you have the form stuff. My buddy will do it. But how it was done, I was
Make the
like,
story,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like don't be there when he comes. He'll be back on the desk later that day. And I'm like, and there's a consulate there, so I'm sure it just went to the consulate, did the stuff, but it was just like how it was done was like, huh, interesting. And then there's other ones like when I was doing my PhD in Portugal, doing my first like visa to go there. It was kind of like it was like I called the ladies. I'm like, okay, I live on this side of the Mississippi, so I call this number here, and I can speak Portuguese. So they're like, oh, so I'm like just chatting with them and stuff. And so she's like, oh yeah, so it was really easy. And then I was like, wow, that was really easy to get that visa. And then when I got to Portugal to renew, then it was the oh my gosh the Cidadão, Loja de Cidadão, the citizens shop is the translation, and that's where you go. And when it was just me going, they're like, "Oh, Dr. Wolters, please come around here." Like everything worked. But then when I came with Jocelyn and Caleb was there, and we're trying to get their visas. Caleb's no problem. Oh, it's your kid. Boom, you're done, Dr. Wolters. Oh, Jocelyn, you need to wait here. It took 13 months to get her first 12-month visa.
What?
So she couldn't work. She couldn't do anything. And it was funny because when she got to get her second year-long visa, she actually picked it up that morning to have it to turn it back in. And it was already expired a month before. So like, but the thing is, we just kept getting a letter from the foreign office. She's okay. Don't worry. Let her back in. I was like, oh, brother.
Oof.
That does not sound like fun.
Yeah. So.
Oh my. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Visa renewals for some reason are always a nightmare.
Yeah.
Like getting the first visa is fine, and then when you would get renewed would be like piece of cake, and it probably is in many countries. But like I've always had issues. Maybe it's again where I'm choosing to live. I don't know.
No, I mean Germany going to get the second one in Germany. Well, the first one Germany because like I forgot how much the Germans loved everything. It definitely had a stamp. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh my god! Like you need to get your original diploma here, and then we'll make a photocopy, and then we'll stamp that photocopy. Then it counts like the real thing. And I'm like, so I have no idea where my undergraduate like diploma is because I had to get it, deframe it, because I got like all nice stuff. Get it out of there, take photocopies so they can stamp it, and I'm like, all right, whatever.
Sure.
There's official and then there's German official.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Oh, you want a phone? Well, first you have to have you have to have a bank account. You have to have a proof that you live someplace. But you can't get that. You can't get a place to live until you have a bank account. But you can't get a place to bank it. La la la. You're like, oh, brother.
We got married in Barcelona while I was doing my master's there, and had exactly that fun little catch-22 where we couldn't get a wedding date until he had an extension on his visa, which we couldn't get the extension on the visa without the circumstance, which was the wedding, which they couldn't give us the date for without the extension. 6 months it took us. We watched Vicky Cristina Barcelona, and they were like 3 weeks later they got married. The two of us fell on the floor laughing. It was great. We were like, yeah, that's
laughing.
Yeah.
I'm really curious, since we're talking about the travails of travel, what is your favorite and least favorite thing about traveling?
My least favorite thing is the actual flying over, like that day being wasted, get anywhere. Well, going there, I'm usually like researching and stuff, so I'm like kind of planning things out. So at least I'm doing something. Yeah, on the way back, it's like I hope they have new movies on the plane because it's like if I could just be there, it'd be so good. But it's just and a lot of times, like where I fly out of, I have like a 6 a.m. flight, so you're waking up at 3:30 to leave at 4. So That's my least favorite. My favorite is actually meeting people. Like I just love meeting people when we go around, and like it's not because people know like they want to come talk to me. It's like I just meet people,
Mhm.
and it's really fun. I'm like, oh yeah, I do a video. Like oh, I thought that, and then we have a good conversation too. But like just meeting the people, like that's the funnest thing about travel. Like you go around and realize we're all kind of the same. We all want to eat good food. We
Yeah.
all want to have a good time with our friends. We all care about our family. It doesn't matter where you are.
So
we're all
true.
kind of the same that way.
Yeah. No, I love that. That's so good. So what like speaking of trails and everything, like what kind of challenges do you face traveling as a family? Like and what makes it easier to travel as a family?
Easier if you have, when the kids are little, you get all those like extra lines for you when you're in Europe and other places. My kids are teenagers and one's 18 now, so like we don't get any of the fun stuff anymore. But man, it was so nice going to Italy and like, oh, you can just skip the 900 person line and come right to the front. Like that was the best. I think the memories we made with the kids because like they travel with the grandparents too. So instead of just like I went to grandma's house when I was a kid and we watched the Cardinal game. Like no, remember when we were in Tanzania with grandma? Remember when with grandpa? Like it gives you more of a chance to kind of bond with all the generations, which is really nice.
Yeah.
So that's fun, and it gives us time to be together. They're not just in their video games. I mean, yeah, they'll take their Switch or whatever, but like they're going out and doing things. You get to talk to them.
Yeah.
Let's see. Worst part about doing it is the price. Everything times 4.
Yeah.
Oh my god! And now that the kids are so big, they have to get a second hotel room.
Yeah.
They're not bunking anymore, huh?
I know it was easy when they were little. Now they're like, no, I'm like, yeah, you're right. I don't want to be in the room with anyone anyway. So like, you guys go ahead. So there's that. But I think what would get me is the people that would complain. Like we would walk on a plane and they're like, oh, kids, man. I'm like, wait, you were a kid.
Right.
They have the right. They have a right to travel too, pal. Just like you do. You have a right to quiet. Put on some headphones. But also, my kids were good travelers, so they weren't crying, they weren't screaming, they weren't running up and down. And I think a lot of people when they say they don't think kids should be able to travel, it's more not that they don't like kids. I think it's more they don't want parents that don't parent when they travel. And that's one of those things. Like, look, you just gotta like if you're there, that's what I say. If the parents trying to calm down the kids, because sometimes kids are upset, they're trying. Hey, I'm not gonna be upset. But if you're letting your kid run up and down and annoy the flight attendants and play in the galley, I'm like, that's dangerous for them. Like those kind of things. I can understand that. But I still remember this one flight we were on. This guy is like, literally is making a holy hell that he has to sit near kids. I can't believe. I'm like, and and our kids were literally perfect. It was I think we were going to Paris.
Okay.
From Atlanta or whatever. And we get there and he's like, your kids were good. And Jocelyn, who's awesome, tried to Southern and she goes, yeah, she was way better. It was like they were way better than you were on this flight. Ooh. And he was like, oh, and the people behind were like, oh, and it was true because he was like just complaining the whole time. I'm like, the people that complain about the kids, they're going to complain about something anyway. So
right,
please stop.
Jocelyn might be my favorite person I've ever.
She's fine. I like her.
Similarities here. So. Yeah.
Oh, when she was like, I'm afraid of flying, I was like, oh girl, let's hang. Because same, they'll get like the antsy and the whole bit and everything. But that response is exactly what I would have said. We do not have kids, and that's by choice, and that's kind of our travel regimen as well. Yeah. Another reason we're curious about it, but we love kids, and traveling around kids, seeing kids when we're traveling makes us very happy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I love that because that's one thing is like I like traveling with kids because especially if they're excited for things. Like there's things you can do to get kids excited. Like we used to have the kids watch cartoons that were based in the place we're going to go. So when we go, they're like, "Hey, Bugs Bunny was right here." I'm like, "Yeah, there's a Coliseum. Remember that?" And it really helped them connect. There was this, there was like a spy show. Like when my kids were little, like in the early 2000s, and they like went all over the world. And it wasn't like Carmen Sandiego, but it's something like that. And so they're like, "Oh, I saw that. They were there." And so like really, really helped. Like Paris is great because there's so many movies and stuff based there. And you're like, look, kids, will tell her, look, the Louvre. Look. They're like, oh, I want to see the fruit picture. They don't want to see they don't want to see Mona Lisa. They don't want to see Wing Victor. They want to see the people made out of fruit. That's their favorite one in the Louvre.
That is amazing. That's such a great tactic too. I never would have considered like showing the thing, but
forms that connection. I love that. That's brilliant idea. So are there any places you would never go back to, just no matter what?
I would just say never. There's places I like if I like they wouldn't be top of my list.
Okay, fair enough.
Like people, not like I'm kind of notorious for being anti-Brussels. Not because it's a bad city, it's just because it gets lumped together with big cities. It's more like a C list than an A
Okay.
list. Because like, oh, news from Brussels, hell, live from
Yeah.
Brussels, London, and Paris. And so you kind of have that perception of it, and I've fallen for that. Like I always thought it was supposed to be like that, and it's not. It's got some nice museums. The Mannequin Pist is literally, it is like the size of my head. That's it, and the square is beautiful, but it's expensive. Not like there, and that's one I'm like, I'd rather go to Ghent or Antwerp or Bruges instead.
Yeah.
There's other place to go instead that I would be more the Ardennes. There's more places I enjoy better in Belgium than that. But that's one that always kind of usually comes up when people talk about it. Yeah, but places I'd always go back. I'd always go back to Brazil. I'd always go back to Italy or France. Like those are no doubts. And traveling the U.S. is fantastic. I can always go back to New Orleans. Love New Orleans, Savannah, Georgia, New York. Like those are some of my faves.
Very cool. Yeah. Fun fact: Brussels was actually my first international experience. My father was living over there when I was 18, and I was like, oh, "This is magical." And yeah, hadn't seen any of the rest of Europe.
Yeah,
but,
I got waffles. I got beer. And I only had to have one. And
right.
I was wiped out. It was amazing.
It's like I'm 18. I can drink. This is fantastic.
Yeah, it's like the greatest place ever.
Right.
Brussels actually surprises me only because it's not because of your answer, but also because of the point that you're making. I am not familiar with the city, so for you to say that is kind of like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Wouldn't necessarily deter me from wanting to see it, but knowing that to the point of the work that you do, it is nice to have that perspective and saying like, okay, it's not a city that I don't have to go to just because, Wolters World says not to go there or because it's not top of his list to go. But it's one of those where like the way that you present that and saying, yeah, it's not exactly how they make it out to be in this space. So it might not be what you're expecting when you get there.
Yeah.
And here's some other places that might be a little more on par with if you're looking for this kind of thing. And I love that about your tactic on how you present.
Because like there's people that love every single city in the world. I'm not gonna invalidate their opinions and their thoughts. That's their experience. That's what I love about it. Everyone has their own opinions, like other things. We all have them, right?
Right.
So it's like I want people to share it, and like people comment and they'll get so mad. I'm like, this is my experience. Yours is different. I'm glad you had a better experience. I didn't, and that's okay. I'm not going to tell you not to go there. Like the only place I tell people not to go is I say, don't go to war zones. Okay, don't put yourself in danger because I would think that happen to anybody.
I am curious. Places like Libya, for example, is that a place you've been to or a place you would go to?
I have not been to Libya. I haven't researched it. So if I would research it, I'd see if it was cool to go to or not. I know there's people that have gone to every country and I don't care and these kind of things. But I've got 2 kids. I got a wife. I got my dad. It's got a little dementia. Like I'm like I got to support. I got people to think about. It's different. Yeah. It's different. Like when you're middle aged and you're taking care of the older generation and the younger generation. Right. It's very different when you're the younger generation. You don't have to care about anything.
Right.
And you can see like when you look at the contents made out there, you see wow, there's a lot of young people that are going to all these crazy places. Yeah, and then once they hit about 30, they stop doing it. Yeah. Because like maybe they get a job, or they may realize, hey, you know what? That social media money isn't really that great, right? So you have to think about that.
Oh, don't stop.
Yeah, sorry. It's like don't quit your day job. I mean, I still have a full-time job. So.
Right.
Fair enough.
Yeah, no, but that makes a lot of sense. Speaking of money, I do have a question. What is your take on travel insurance?
I think it's very important for people to have because you never know. And I help a lot of like seniors, retirees, and you're like, hey, once you hit Medicare does not help you abroad. So you have to get insurance, or travel insurance. And remember, there's travel insurance and then there's like health travel insurance, which is like when you're sick abroad versus they lose my luggage. So you want to kind of look at what you have. And some people are like, oh, my credit card gives me insurance. Which is it? Is it like it gets me out in emergency stuff so I can get care? Like we had a friend of ours, he had to have an emergency appendectomy. He was in Mexico. And they're like, oh god! And so he got emergency flown from Mexico into like I think went to Austin, and then had like his appendix taken out there. It's like I mean, if he didn't have that, I mean, there's great hospitals in Mexico. He wouldn't be in a problem, but he wanted to be where he'd be covered insurance, all kinds of stuff. So there is those things. There's a reason why you should have it. I mean, we've had. Let's see. I broke this collarbone. Skiing in Finland. My youngest got his hand smashed in a door in China, and not this part, but the hinge part Not good. You're going into the hospitals. It was a very traumatic experience going to 3 hospitals in China for him. Let's see. My oldest, the Netherlands and the steps of death that are like this. I caught him at the bottom by his head. And it literally, like, he has a huge scar on his head where he's jacked it open. Ooh. Let's see. Jocelyn got hit in the eye with bamboo because she was like trimming it up where we lived in Lisbon, and the bamboo snapped back and hit her right in the eye. So she was a pirate for a couple of weeks. We have no pictures because she said, if you take a picture of me with a patch on, I'll kill you. So we were still relatively new in our marriage. I wasn't really going to take a chance. Now I'd be like, hey, snap. Not then. No. Now I know which she goes. So I know she's going to go left. I'll go right. Down there.
That's good to remember.
I had a phone call at 3:00 in the morning Eastern time from my sister who was in Paris with my parents asking me how good my French was, which is not good, is the answer to that question. And the reason why was because I needed to get with the insurance woman because my father, 6 hours before their flight back to the States, was walking and talking, which apparently he can't do at the same time. He turned around, tripped over a tree root or something, and complex compound fractured his arm, like at the elbow. Yeah. I may have to cut that part out of the thing because squeamish, traumatizing trigger alert. Yeah. But to your point about the needing to come home, they did enough to set it, but he had to have like real proper surgery with a long recovery period. So coming back to the States was like the ultimate, but they had to spend an extra, I want to say 2 weeks in France, just having to deal with that. So the time and the money and the insurance and the health, to your point.
And also then you have to realize, like, are you allowed to stay that long? Like we had a couple fans that went to Finland and she was pregnant, but she was only in her second trimester. So she wasn't like towards the end. And then like she had the thing and they're like, oh, well, the baby might be coming. So she had to go to the hospital and they're like, we're only allowed to be here another like 2 weeks. But they're not going to let me out of the hospital for at least a month. And so she was trying to do so she's in bed in a hospital in Finland. The husband's trying to deal with this stuff. And it was just like, I mean, it was a crazy experience. Thank goodness the baby came. Everything was safe. They're back home now. But it was like, you're like, you got to be careful. Because you never know. That's why I always say it's really important to grab. And if you don't get it, like when you buy your plane ticket or whatever, you can get it later. As long as you get it before you go, there's companies that'll sell it to you because it's all based on how much it costs and where you're going. So.
Are there, and you don't have to mention specifics, but are there companies that you go to regularly?
I usually just go when I'm buying my actual flight tickets. I usually buy it through that way.
Okay. Interesting.
Because that's easy. I mean, I'd probably save money if I just got a yearly plan. But like my local insurance agent doesn't cover that, so I have to go find a special one that would do that. So I'm like, I got enough time. I don't have enough time in the day.
No,
fair enough.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
So, where are you looking forward to that you haven't been yet? Like you're just champing at the bit to go see.
So there's a few. Like Egypt's one place I've wanted to go, and multiple times when I've been planning to go, things have happened, whether it's pandemics or Arab Spring or other things go on. You're like, okay, that's keeps getting pushed back. New Zealand's another place I'd like. These are places I haven't been that I want to go to.
No.
Yep.
Those are 2 ones. Then Joss would say the one she really wants to go to is Bhutan, and that's something we'd like to do. We've talked to some people in Bhutan about going, so that's one's probably going to be a couple years off, but that's one we want to go to as well.
Okay,
amazing.
I cannot wait for your video on Bhutan. It's just one of the most interesting to me countries, and I know very little about it, but I've Wikipedia'd, so
that is where I can never remember the name of
Thimphu?
but the airport, the people.
Oh yeah. I don't want to explain that to my children because they're scared to fly in on Jocelyn, so I'm not going to mention the whole thing with them. It's like 5 guys that are allowed to land
there's
there.
Like 7 pilots in the world who are like classified to fly into this airport, and there is great BBC footage of them doing it, which I would actually say you check out first and then you can determine if you think your family can watch it. But I watched it and was kind of soothed by it. I was like, that actually looks really calming, weirdly, because you're in the plane and you're just like watching the mountains go past and you're not really thinking about the danger of being in between the mountains like that. But you're like, okay, cool. That sounds like fun.
Yes, not at all.
That's a hard.
I'm going to say no. I'm not going to be sure.
It's a hard pass.
Hard pass on that part. She's
Love
like,
it.
oh yeah, sorry, did I not mention this, guys? Yeah, sorry, my bad.
Well, we have managed to make it through all of the actual questions that we had for you. Do you have any additional pointers or thoughts that you want to relay to our small but growing public?
Sure. Well, one thing I would say is don't be scared to travel. Go experiment other places. And you know, everyone talks about over tourism, and people hate tours. Like they're like, oh, Barcelona, they're shooting with water guns.
Mhm.
Not every person in Barcelona is doing that. I mean, and the thing is, they're not shooting because of the tourists. They're shooting because of the housing issues that have come about through the apartment rentals and stuff. And so, don't be thinking people are going to be hating you because you're a tourist. That's not the thing they're hating. Okay.
Right.
And also, I think with the over tourism stuff, what you'd be surprised is people really focus on certain areas that like the Instagrammers and influencers show. Like we were in Greece a couple summers ago, and literally like Athens, Mykonos, and Santorini, you couldn't move. It was so packed. But we were in Crete. There was nobody there. We were talking to owners that like ran like 30 or 40 Airbnb properties. They're like, yeah, usually we stay until October. We're going to leave in August because there's literally nobody here. We have no bookings because everyone just goes to Mykonos and Santorini because that's all they see. So that's what they think they need to do.
Right.
And I think that's where one of the things are is like, don't just go by the places that inspire you. Instagram, TikTok, they're great for travel inspiration, but do more, look into more, find more stuff out there. Because some people go because I want to get that picture, and literally all it is that picture there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're like, oh, I want to get the wings. I want to get the I love you in Austin. You're like, yeah, okay. I want to, with Ybor City. I want to get a picture with the Cuban the way it's supposed to be. Like, there's other stuff.
Sure.
Right.
If you want some Greek food up the way, go to Tarpon Springs or go to Dinosaur Land or whatever.
We are right down the street from that. We want to go so bad. We haven't been yet, but they said they've only had 37 T-Rex attacks this year. So,
well, there could be 39. I got to
That'd be a great video. I think
it's early. It's early.
One,
because spring breakers are only getting there now.
Right.
That's great advice. I love that advice.
I love that. All right. I think we've hit every point that I wanted to pick your brain about. And this has been a fantastic
today. I mean,
yeah, right. Exactly.
I feel like
feel free. I'm always glad to hop on. Not a problem.
Well, amazing.
Yeah.
Well, genuinely, thank you so much, because this is not only just such a great honor for us to talk to someone who's in this space and has been doing this as long as you have and as well as you have, but just the fact that come on, like you were like, yeah, I'll do. Like you were like sight unseen. I was like, do you want to do our podcast? And you were like, yeah.
Well, let's just say, if we can help other people share their stories, I think it's a great thing to do.
Rising tide raises all ships.
Totally.
Let's do it.
Right.
I'm here for it. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
Well, go get on with your day and enjoy. This has been the Trippy podcast. Let's see if I can make this happen. There we are. Haha. Both of us equal footing. You have been listening to the Travel Buzz Trippy podcast. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful rest of your day, and have an adventure.
Thank you for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Your support means the world to us, and we couldn't do this without you. We love to hear from our viewers, so please drop a comment in the comment section below. And remember to like this video and click the subscribe button so you can get all the latest news from TripB. If you want to show us a little extra love and support, head on over to patreon.com/TripB and select the level of support that's right for you. We hope to see you again soon. Until next time, have an adventure.